Have you ever found yourself sitting at your desk, like either at work or maybe in your home office, and you just feel inexplicably drained?
Like that mid-afternoon slump.
Right. Like you've had your coffee, you got a full 8 hours of sleep, your workload isn't even that crazy today, but you still feel this heavy, lethargic fog just sort of settling over you.
Yeah, and most people immediately blame themselves for that.
Exactly. You probably blame yourself for that brain fog, right? You think you just lack focus today or you didn't drink enough water. But today, we're going to completely flip that script.
Which is so needed, honestly.
Yeah, because we've got this fascinating stack of environmental data and fitness guides from Red Apple Cleaning Out in Las Vegas, and they make a really compelling case that your brain fog isn't a lack of focus at all.
Not even a little bit.
No,
Yeah.
it might actually be a biological reaction to an invisible war zone right there in your carpet and your air vents.
It is a brilliant way to reframe the problem. I mean, we are so heavily conditioned to look internally for the source of our fatigue.
Oh, for sure.
We ask ourselves if we, drank enough water or if we are stressed about a deadline, and we completely ignore the physical reality of the environment we are breathing in for 8 to 10 hours a day.
And that is exactly our mission for today's deep dive. We aren't just talking about doing your chores or making things look pretty.
Right.
This isn't a lecture on tidying up. We are investigating the hidden business case for professional cleaning. We're moving way past simple aesthetics to understand how our physical environments literally dictate our health, our cognitive load, and even the lifespan of the physical assets around us.
Yeah.
So we're getting into biology, environmental science, and psychology today.
Which is a deeply necessary conversation. Because when business owners or even homeowners think about a neglected space, they tend to limit their concern to visual clutter.
Like a messy desk.
Exactly. They see a messy desk or a dusty shelf and think, well, that looks a bit unprofessional. But the consequences of a neglected environment extend so far beyond what we can actually see with the naked eye.
The visual stuff is just the surface.
It really is. That visual clutter is just the tip of the iceberg. What's underneath is an active microscopic threat to operational efficiency and overall physical health.
I want to get right into the biological reality of what is actually lurking in these workspaces, because the data points to specific high-touch zones that act as massive breeding grounds for seasonal colds and the flu.
Oh, it's everywhere.
And it's the stuff you touch every single day without even thinking about it. Keyboards, elevator buttons.
The break room.
Yes, the microwave handle in the break room, the water cooler dispenser. I mean, my keyboard alone probably has a terrifying biological footprint.
If you think about the sheer volume of biological traffic in a commercial building, it really is staggering.
Just the foot traffic alone.
Right. You have dozens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of individuals passing through daily. And every single person acts as a vector, bringing in outside contaminants, allergens, and pathogens.
It's so gross to think about.
It is. And those shared spaces you mentioned, like the conference rooms and the communal kitchens, they become these biological bottlenecks.
Like a choke point for germs.
Precisely. When 50 different people touch the same microwave handle in a 4-hour window, and that surface isn't properly managed, bacteria don't just sit there. They accumulate and cross-contaminate exponentially.
Okay, let's unpack this because I really want to talk about how this impacts us mentally, not just physically.
Yeah, the mental tax is huge.
It is. Think of your brain like a computer. When you are sitting in a dirty or disorganized office, it's like your computer is running way too many background applications.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. Your conscious mind is trying to write an important email or balance a complex spreadsheet, but your subconscious is actively processing the sticky feeling on your desk, or the weird lingering odor coming from the break room trash.
Or the overflowing bins in the corner.
Exactly. All that stuff in your peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Dealing with all of that sensory input literally drains your brain's battery. It increases your cognitive load, pulling your focus away from your core responsibilities.
What's fascinating here is the direct, documented link between a sanitized environment and increased employee output.
It's actually measured.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It isn't just a placebo effect. When that ambient cognitive load you just described decreases, your nervous system actually downregulates.
Wow.
You aren't subtly producing stress hormones in response to a chaotic environment, which means your executive function improves. Productivity naturally rises.
That makes so much sense.
But to actually achieve that baseline of sanitation, we have to look at the mechanics of how illness is transmitted and why our standard kind of knee-jerk responses completely fail.
You mean like when someone in the office grabs a generic wet wipe and just aggressively rubs down the communal table?
Yes.
Because I'm definitely guilty of doing exactly that, thinking I've solved the problem.
That is the trap most people fall into. Simple surface wiping, using generic, store-bought cleaning supplies, completely fails to break the chain of illness transmission.
Really?
Yeah,
Completely?
completely.
Mhm.
To actually achieve environmental health, you require commercial-grade disinfectants.
But even having the right chemical isn't enough. You need to understand specific dwell times.
Dwell times. I always assumed if a wipe smells like bleach, you just scrub the surface and the germs die on contact.
Not at all. And that misunderstanding is a primary reason colds tear through offices so quickly. Disinfectants do not kill pathogens instantly upon contact.
Wait, they don't?
No, the chemical needs time to sit wet on the surface. That is the dwell time. It takes minutes for those active ingredients to actually penetrate and break down the lipid envelopes or the cell walls of the bacteria and viruses.
Okay.
So if you just spray a generic cleaner and immediately wipe it away with a paper towel, you aren't neutralizing those pathogens.
Wait, so what am I doing when I wipe it right away, just moving them around?
Essentially, yes, you are giving those pathogens a damp ride across the surface.
A damp ride? That's disgusting.
It is. You're spreading them over a wider area. You might remove some dirt, but biologically, you've just redistributed the threat. That is genuinely horrifying. I will never look at a quick wipe down the same way again.
Most people don't once they learn that.
But the data doesn't just stop at the hard surfaces. It dives deep into the floor, like the carpets and the upholstery. I was reading that these fabrics are basically giant traps for dead skin cells, food particles, and dust mites.
Oh, they are massive reservoirs for organic matter.
And every single time someone walks across an unvacuumed carpet, they are violently kicking these microscopic particles back up into the breathable airspace.
It creates a constant, invisible cycle of aerosolized irritants. Because of the friction of shoes hitting the carpet fibers, you are literally launching the decaying matter of the room back up to face level.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and over time, this constant daily exposure to airborne dust mites, pollen, and dead skin leads to chronic respiratory irritation. It triggers allergy flare-ups.
And that ties right back to the fatigue we talked about at the start.
Precisely. It directly contributes to that general feeling of lethargy. Your immune system is constantly dialed up.
Just to deal with the room.
Exactly. It's expending biological energy to fight off these low-level environmental irritants in your lungs and nasal passages. That is energy your body is stealing from your cognitive reserves. You are tired because your body is fighting the room.
It's a biological tax on your daily energy. But as if the internal biology wasn't enough, we really need to talk about what happens when the local geography aggressively attacks the building.
Yes, the external factors are huge.
Because the data we are looking at comes from a company operating in Las Vegas, which introduces a wild external factor. We're talking about the Mojave Desert effect.
Operating a business or maintaining a home in southern Nevada presents highly specific, very aggressive environmental challenges.
Like what, specifically?
Well, the Mojave Desert climate is incredibly dry. It is prone to sustained high winds, and it experiences rapid, drastic temperature fluctuations.
I get that it's dry and windy, but how is desert dust really that different from the standard dust bunnies I find under my couch anywhere else in the country? I mean, dust is dust, right?
It is entirely different on a molecular level.
Re-
Yeah. Standard household dust is mostly human skin cells, fabric fibers, and pet dander. It is relatively soft. Mojave Desert dust, however, is highly alkaline, and it is packed with fine, abrasive silica.
So it's basically sand?
It is essentially microscopic sand. When those high winds carry that fine desert particulate straight through open commercial doorways, it acts as a relentless environmental intrusion.
It's just invading the space.
Exactly. It settles on computer monitors, creating this constant gritty film. And when it embeds itself deep within the fibers of commercial carpeting, those sharp silica particles actually slice and grind against the carpet fibers every time someone steps on them.
Yikes.
It wears the carpet down prematurely.
And it has a massive cascading financial effect on the building's infrastructure, too. If those vents and return ducts are clogged with fine desert sand, your heating and cooling systems have to work twice as hard just to push air through the building.
Absolutely.
You are literally driving up your monthly utility costs and burning out your HVAC motors just because you haven't dealt with the dust.
It's a perfect example of how environmental neglect translates directly to the balance sheet. And the mitigation strategies for this specific environment have to be highly specialized.
You can't just treat it like any other city.
No, you can't just mop a floor in Las Vegas the way you would in Seattle. Hard floors in this region require regular damp mopping with strictly neutral cleaners.
Why neutral cleaner specifically? What happens if you use something else?
It comes down to basic chemistry, because the desert soil blowing in is highly alkaline, meaning it has a high pH.
Okay.
If you use a highly alkaline or highly acidic cleaner on top of that alkaline soil, you create a chemical reaction that can permanently strip or cloud the floor's finish.
Oh, wow. So you ruin the floor?
Exactly. You have to use a pH-neutral cleaner to safely suspend and remove that specific type of desert dirt without destroying the wax or the sealant underneath. It requires genuine expertise.
That's wild.
You also need frequent detailed cleaning of window tracks and exterior-facing entryways just to build a mechanical defensive perimeter against the blowing sand.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Wait, so if you use a standard, typical vacuum in a desert environment like Las Vegas, are you actually making the indoor air quality worse?
Oh, without a doubt.
Like, are you just launching all that fine alkaline dust back into the air you breathe?
You absolutely are. It is one of the most counterproductive things a business can do.
That's crazy.
A standard, consumer-grade vacuum cleaner does not have the filtration capacity to capture microscopic desert particulates. The pores in the filter are simply too large.
So it just goes right through.
Right. It sucks up the abrasive sand, filters out the large visible debris like paper clips or food crumbs, and then acts as a high-powered fan. It blows the finest, most irritating alkaline particles right out the exhaust and back into the room.
So you're basically weaponizing the dust.
That is an accurate way to put it. This is why true sanitation in this specific geography strictly requires HEPA-filtered equipment.
HEPA filters.
Yes. High-efficiency particulate air filters are mechanically designed to trap those microscopic irritants rather than redistributing them. They capture 99.97% of particles down to 0.3 microns.
That's incredibly small.
It is. It reframes the entire concept of cleaning. It is no longer just a chore. It is a strategic mechanical defense against the climate.
I love that phrasing, a strategic defense against the climate. But since the environment is constantly attacking the facility from the outside, we have to look at how people try to defend it on the inside.
Right.
And the data points out that trying to save a few bucks on this defense often results in disastrous, incredibly costly chemistry mistakes.
When building owners or managers try to tackle this, they usually fall into one of three traps or maintenance strategies.
Let's hear them.
The first is employee-led cleaning. This is where you ask your office staff to take out the trash and wipe down the counters.
Which is highlighted as highly unreliable and, honestly, a terrible business move. You are wasting the expensive, paid hours of your skilled workers to have them poorly wipe down a counter with the wrong chemicals.
It's exactly.
I mean, you're paying a graphic designer or an accountant their hourly rate to improperly sanitize a microwave.
The economics make no sense. Furthermore, it has a very low health and safety impact because there is wildly inconsistent sanitation. Your accountant doesn't know about dwell times or commercial disinfectants.
Right, they're just doing the damp ride thing.
Exactly. The second strategy they often pivot to is the basic janitorial service.
Right, I call this the trash and dash approach.
Trash and dash, yeah.
They come in after hours, empty the bins, and maybe run a dry mop over the lobby.
It focuses almost entirely on visible macro-level dirt. It certainly has a lower upfront cost, which is appealing to a budget, but it leaves the facility entirely vulnerable to hidden property wear.
Because it ignores the microscopic stuff.
Yes, it completely ignores the microscopic battleground we discussed earlier, leaving the HVAC strain and the biological hazards untouched. And finally, there is the professional commercial team strategy,
which utilizes the HEPA filtration, the EPA-approved disinfectants, and actually prevents asset damage while reducing employee sick leave.
Right.
And that concept of asset damage is a huge point I want to dig into, because the chemistry mistakes people make when they try to bypass professionals and do it themselves are shocking.
Chemistry is entirely unforgiving. When unqualified individuals attempt a deep clean, they often operate under the false assumption that stronger means cleaner.
More power, better clean.
Right. So they reach for the most aggressive, caustic products available on the shelf.
Like using highly acidic cleaners on marble or natural stone surfaces in a lobby or an executive bathroom. I've actually seen people do this with heavy-duty bathroom cleaners on beautiful snow.
It is a catastrophic error.
Yeah.
You have to understand the composition of the material. Natural stone, like marble, is primarily composed of calcium carbonate.
Okay.
It is highly reactive to acids. If you apply an acidic cleaner, even something as seemingly harmless as heavy vinegar or a citrus-based solvent, a chemical reaction occurs instantly.
Instant damage.
Yes. The acid literally dissolves the calcium carbonate. It causes permanent etching on the surface. It essentially eats away the top layer of the stone, destroying the polished finish and leaving behind irreparable damage that looks like a permanent, cloudy stain.
So what does this all mean? If I can give an analogy here, using an acidic cleaner on natural stone to get rid of some surface dirt is like trying to clean a delicate, priceless oil painting with a wire brush.
That is a perfect analogy.
Yes, you are technically removing the dirt from the surface, but you are completely destroying the underlying asset in the process. You've ruined the very thing you were trying to protect.
Exactly. You solve a $10 dirt problem by creating a $10,000 damage problem. And these reactive mistakes extend to textiles as well. Consider how untrained individuals treat stubborn carpet stains.
Oh, this happens all the time.
The human instinct is to aggressively scrub the discoloration with a brush and whatever soap is nearby.
Right, you panic and just scrub as hard as you can to get the coffee out.
But scrubbing a carpet stain actually just forces the staining molecules deeper into the carpet fibers. You are physically driving the pigment into the twisted yarns of the carpet, embedding it permanently.
So you're locking it in?
Basically, yes. Professional extraction involves chemistry that binds to the stain and lifts it out, rather than grinding it down.
And especially in a place like Las Vegas, we can't forget the water itself. The region is notorious for its extremely hard water.
Yes, the municipal water contains exceptionally high levels of dissolved minerals, primarily calcium and magnesium.
Right.
When that water is splashed on a surface and left to evaporate, the H2O leaves, but the minerals stay behind. If this isn't managed with consistent professional attention using the correct chemical descalers, it leads to permanent calcification.
Right, those impossible white crusty rings you see on the glass doors, the metal sinks, and the plumbing fixtures. The data mentions that this isn't just ugly, it can literally destroy plumbing fixtures.
It absolutely can.
The calcium bonds to the metal and rubber seals, leading to major leaks and replacements over time.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, removing abrasive sand, mitigating environmental grit, and preventing hard water scale isn't just about hygiene or passing a visual inspection.
Right.
It is fundamentally about preventative maintenance. You are extending the lifespan of extremely expensive physical assets, replacing commercial carpeting that was shredded by desert sand, restoring etched marble in a lobby, or overhauling calcified plumbing costs exponentially more than retaining a professional cleaning service.
It's way more expensive to fix it later.
Oh, definitely. Routine, scientifically grounded commercial cleaning protects the company from devastating, costly emergency repairs.
It totally shifts the perspective from cleaning as a monthly expense to cleaning as an insurance policy for the building itself.
That's exactly right.
And this doesn't just apply to physical surfaces either. It applies to the actual air we are breathing, specifically when it comes to odors in the home or the office. I feel like odors are the most misunderstood part of all this.
They absolutely are. People tend to think of an odor as just an invisible abstract smell. They think of it as an aura in the room.
Right, they think of it like a ghost haunting the break room. So their solution is to just buy a store-bought aerosol air freshener and spray a giant cloud into the room to fight the ghost.
But an odor is not an abstract concept. An odor is a physical molecular particle.
Wait, it's a physical thing?
Yes. If you smell pet dander, cooking grease, or bacterial decay in a room, it is because microscopic physical particles of that dander, grease, or bacteria are floating in the air, traveling up your nasal cavity, and physically binding to your olfactory receptors.
That is deeply gross to think about. I am literally inhaling the trash can.
It is the biological reality of scent. So when you use a store-bought aerosol spray, you are doing absolutely nothing to remove those physical contaminants from the airspace.
You're just adding to the mess.
Exactly. You are merely masking the problem by adding synthetic floral particles or heavy perfumes to the air alongside the bacteria particles. You're just crowding the airspace.
That is so wild.
A professional service understands this chemistry. They don't mask odors. They extract the physical contaminants at the source using specialized equipment, like ozone generators or enzymatic cleaners that actually digest the odor-causing bacteria, permanently eliminating the stale smells and genuinely improving the indoor air quality.
Okay, this has been an incredibly eye-opening journey. We have covered a massive amount of ground today. We started by uncovering the hidden biological hazards just lurking on our keyboards, the elevator buttons, and deep within the fibers of our carpets.
Yeah.
And we learned how that microscopic warfare triggers an immune response that is literally dragging down our daily energy levels and increasing our cognitive load.
We also examined the aggressive invasion of the Mojave Desert environment, how fine alkaline dust and abrasive silica sand constantly attack the integrity of the building, destroying carpet fibers and forcing HVAC systems to work harder,
Right.
which of course necessitates highly strategic HEPA-filtered mechanical defenses.
And we broke down the illusion of basic maintenance. We looked at how attempting to save a few dollars with DIY methods or basic trash and dash janitorial services often results in disastrous chemistry mistakes, like etching expensive marble with acid or permanently driving stains deeper into carpets, ultimately destroying property value.
It all underscores the core mission we established at the beginning of this deep dive. The physical environment dictates operational efficiency, employee morale, and overall company health. It is an intricate system that requires professional management, not just a casual wipe down.
So, as we wrap up, I want you to look around your own workspace or your home right now. Look at the surfaces, the vents, the carpets. We've established today that microscopic, invisible particles, from abrasive desert dust to dead skin cells, can dictate our energy levels and our cognitive focus. If our physical environment secretly orchestrates our daily output, how many of our mid-afternoon slumps, our bad moods, or creative blocks are actually just symptoms of an unsanitized room? And what untapped potential might we unlock when we finally take control of the invisible air we breathe?